Good morning. My name is Karen Kong, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And welcome to week number 2 of my Crafting to Go series. So this month I am concentrating on the Cutest Crew bundle, and this is the card I made this week. I have to tell you, I was really stuck yesterday. I was making my card with a layout that I had picked out, and I had already figured out how I wanted to do it, and I went to go make it, and I wasn't happy with the way it looked. So I don't know if that's ever happened to you. You're like 3/4 of the way through making a card and you realize you don't love it. So anyways, I had to restart, and I did come up with something new, and I think I'm happy with this one. So we are going to do some crafting this morning. So let me just get my computer set up so that I can see your comments when we are crafting. Good morning, Tara. Thanks for joining in. And I am going to cross my fingers that my computer is going to update while we're crafting, because last week, okay, so 2 weeks before that, I had no comments during my crafting. And last week, I finally figured out that if I refreshed my screen, it would update the comments, but it was kind of a pain because I'd have to keep doing it because it wouldn't update otherwise, right? I would have to continue to update. Okay. Wow. So hang on a second. All right. So let's hope that it will continue to update on my screen as we are crafting. If you're joining in for the first time, I always love it if you could say hi and tell me where you're crafting from. And ask questions, join in the conversation. It is not nearly as much fun crafting by myself and talking to myself, so please say hi. Okay, so my computer is sort of set up. Yeah, the video is set up, and I'm really hoping the comments will continue to update. I don't see any more greetings, so I'm just going to switch my my camera over to my the amount, and I'm just going to move it. So just close your eyes while I'm moving it and setting that up. All right, here we are. So number 2 of my Cutest Crew Crafting to Go series. So for this, the start of 2026, I started doing these Crafting to Go series where if you place a qualifying order beforehand, then you'll get all the pieces to make the cards that I showcase in the month. At the end of the month, and I'll send them out to you, and you can make them for free. And this is card number 2 of the Cutest Crew series. So really cute. Here's the card. And I used some retired products. So this is an embossing folder. It is called, let me just bring it in. This one. Thanks and Hello embossing folders. It's a few years old, I think. And I used the Hello embossing folder to give my bottom piece here some texture. And the DSP here is from Dandy Designs, I want to say. Hang on a second. It is, yeah, the Dandy Designs series of paper, which is also retired. But like I said, you can, as you know, usual, you can pull in whatever works for you, use whatever color scheme works for you. And this is wild wheat. I pulled out some precious stock of my wild wheat cardstock to use for this color combination. So the whole color combination is Calypso Coral, Petal Pink, wild wheat, and white. And if you are joining in for the very first time, don't worry about writing everything down. I always add the colors and all the measurements in my video description afterwards. And I'm just trying to multitask here, talk and refresh my screen so that I can see your comments at the same time. Okay, so Shalise joined us. Thank you for joining in. Yeah, I like this embossing folder set. It's 2 actually. There's 2 in this set. It's a mini embossing folder. One is hello and the other one's thanks. And I have the other there's another one that is like a birthday and a congratulations folder. So yeah, they come in handy. So I like using it as a background for more generic cards. Okay, so let's get started. It's an easy card to make, and we're just going to do some coloring and assembly. So let's get started on that. So if you're getting the kit at the end of the month, you will get all the pieces cut out, but I don't give the stamped piece, of course. You have to have the stamp set in order to complete it. So I'm going to start with assembling everything else first, and then we'll place it on top of the card base. Okay, so this I need to emboss, and I will need to also die cut this wild wheat strip. So let's bring in my cut and emboss machine, and we will take care of that first. And I think I'm going to bring in my mini cut and emboss machine, because I don't have anything that requires a full-size machine. Like, it doesn't have the a wide width, so we are good to go for this one. Okay, so let's emboss this first and get out the embossing folder. And I'm just going to position it so that I get the big word hello in there, because I wanted it to match my my sentiment saying just a little hello. So I wanted that to be visible. So I'm just going to make sure that I position it so that I have that word hello visible once I've embossed it. Okay, so that's where it is. And I'm just going to check what pieces I need for my sandwich. So it always has the sandwich description on the bottom plate. So for, let me see, these are thin dies, and then, because I always forget, I don't use my small embossing machine as much, but it's handy for lives. These are for 3D embossing folders. And this one, I need a 1 and a 3. Okay, so 1 and a 3. So this is 3, and I need a 1. All right. So let's put this in between, and then we'll slide it through. All right. Just refreshing to see your comments. Good morning, Janice. Thanks for joining in. No, Sandra, the comments are not working. I'm having to refresh every few seconds and take a moment to read your messages to catch up. Okay, so I've done the embossing. I've got to run this through and get my little paw dies cut out. Okay, so let me grab the right pieces. So I need 1s and 2s. So here's, I need this one, and I'm missing one. Oh, I found it. Okay, so here's my other number 2 plate. Just gonna grab the die for this. So let's just reach in. And I'm just going to position this a little further over, I think. Let me just see. Because there's a lot of white space that's in the front there. So I think I had a longer piece initially when I was still working on designing the card. So this is actually cut straight to the width I need. So I think I'm just going to move it over just a little bit so that I don't have so much white space on the left. Okay. Whoops, that's the wrong one. Let's make sure this is straight. Okay. Sorry, I can see it moving around, so I'm just trying to straighten out the die. I think that looks okay. Let's try to get that sandwich to go in. There we go. So yeah, I had a lot of trouble coming up with this week's card. I'm coming off of 2 back-to-back dance competitions. We were away, and I'm just so zonked because last weekend my allergies were just acting up really badly while we were away, and so I didn't get enough sleep. I was sneezy, my eyes were swollen. I think that looks good. It's a little bit cut off there, but that's okay. All right, so let's clean this off. I'm just going to clean off all these little pieces because I need to die cut 2 circles. So we need 2 circles for the sentiment, and I figure since we have the cut and emboss machine out right now, let's go ahead and get those circles cut. Let me refresh so I can see if you guys are asking me any questions. Okay. Oh, Sandra, you need this set. Is that a question? Oh, no, you can always borrow. That's the thing is that, you know, we have it. Like somebody in our group has it. I have it, and you can always borrow from me. But, you know, if you want to have it on hand, then you're going to need it. But, in any case, what am I doing? Yes, multitasking is getting harder. Okay, so I need to cut a white and a Calypso Coral out. So let me just grab, this is the layering circles dies actually. I had used the Stylus Shapes dies, which I think are still current, but I didn't love the way the stitching looked on this card, and so I switched it out for the layering circles. So that is the correct size. I'm just going to grab some paper. Let's see. Is this going to be big enough? No. I think this one will work. Okay, here, this is going to work. All right. Okay. So yeah, that's what I wanted to ask is, like, you know, have you guys, you know, gotten halfway through making a card and realized you didn't like how it was going to look? Because that was me yesterday, and I was like getting stressed out because I did not have my card ready and I didn't know what I was going to do. So, you know, starting again, you know, after all putting in a whole bunch of effort for another card was a little bit frustrating and stressful for me. But I did it. I got there. Let's see. I need one more piece of Calypso Coral to cut out the second circle. And I'll tell you, I actually cut out a larger circle, and I didn't love the way that looked either. So I ended up cutting a smaller circle and realized it was the exact same size as my white. And so I offset it. And I think that actually looks more fun. Because it is a fun card, right? It's cute. It's not a formal kind of card, so I think it works. Apologies for the camera shaking at all when I push this through. It is mounted to my desk, and so any shaking on my desk does make my camera wiggle. Okay, so I think I'm done with the cutting for now until we get to the cats, when we have to cut that out. So let's just move this off to the side. And let's do some stamping. Okay, let me grab a piece of white. And I thought I had everything cut out, but I don't, apparently. This is reality crafting, right? So this is, oh, that's gonna be perfect. Just long enough. Okay, so that's long enough. And let's bring in some black. Okay, so I have been using the basic black for a few days. I think as far as the ink goes, it seems fine. I'm just having some trouble with getting the lid off. I don't know about you guys. Let me refresh the comments and see if I can see if you guys have anything to say about this. Oh yeah, Sandra. It's too bad there aren't bunnies in this set. That would be the perfect addition to it, wouldn't it? But yes, so going back to the ink pad, I'm having some trouble getting this open because the sides here are smooth. There's no lip along the edge. Oh, there's a no to get this open. So I'm always I can sometimes pull it open, but if my hands are slippery, I have trouble, and I find I have to find my like a grip with my fingernails to pull off the lid. So the other thing that I wish that it had was a flat top. Like the lid looks really cool having this kind of curve to it, but when I go to, like, when you're working with all your stamp pads and everything, I don't know about you, but I'm stacking all my stamp pads, my ink pads, I mean. And so when you have a curved top on this one, you can't put this in between layers because it won't stack up properly. So I am having some issues loving this new ink pad. But hopefully, I mean, the benefits will outweigh the disadvantages, and I will just get used to it in time, because this ink is supposedly better at staying put and not running for watercoloring, and I think that's true. I mean, I have not had any issues with it running when I blends markers. I've used blends markers, and I think, did I watercolor? I watercolored last week, actually. So all right, so that's all inked up. Let's stamp this on. And I said last week that I didn't think that it stained the stamps, but I think my stamps actually are darker. Not as dark as with a StazOn ink, but it is darker than it would be if I just used the black Memento ink. Not that it matters, because it doesn't affect your stamping at all. Having the stamp, the rubber stamp, stained, it doesn't affect anything. See, so now you can see I've used this a few times now, and it looks, you can, if I put a little bit of white behind it, you can tell it's much more gray than it would normally be. Okay, so let's get the just a little hello. Here we go. Here's my circle, and I have the stamp already set up on the block. And I'm going to bring back my ink pad. And let's stamp this on. I just like to press the center to make sure that I have pressure everywhere, so I don't end up with like a lighter area in the middle. Somehow that did not turn out as nicely on that side. I wonder if I can just turn it over. My back side doesn't look as good. I've got some stains there. Okay, I'm gonna stamp that again. Let's grab another sheet of paper and try that again. Let's see if this one, do I have enough room on this one? I'm just going to grab my die just to make sure that it doesn't, that there's this sheet of paper is big enough. Yeah, I think that's going to be big enough. Okay. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to die cut it first so that there's a slight bend in this paper. That's okay. Okay, let's go ahead and stamp it, and I'll cut it out afterwards with the cats. Okay, that's better. All right, I'm gonna put away my ink pad. And let's color the bunny, the little, I have bunnies on the brain now, the cats. All right, so I used a bunch of blends markers to do my coloring. And as you know, like, I looked at pictures of cats while I was coloring this, and they have all kinds of, you know, cats where they have like white splotches and orange splotches and black. Like, I looked at calicos specifically, and I had a hard time trying to make mine look like calicos. I couldn't leave the little white areas empty. They just didn't look right somehow. So I ended up filling them in. So I'll show you what I mean. Maybe somebody else is more talented than me, but let's go. This is the dark Calypso Coral. And I'm just basically going to copy what I have here. Oh, maybe I used the light Calypso Coral for the cats. Well, we'll see how this turns out. So if I wanted to leave like a little white face, I just didn't know where to stop. I mean, like, if you look at a cat, like, it just, the white patches appear just anywhere in random shapes. It really doesn't matter, but it just didn't look right to me on my coloring. So I ended up just coloring it in. All right. The next one I used like a, I think I used a light petal pink. Let's see, light petal pink, and then I put the light Calypso Coral as markings on the cat. Nope, I think I used a darker petal pink. So many different combinations that you could use for this. Okay, well, let's go with this, and I'll add dark petal pink instead. Let's use the dark petal pink and see how that turns out. All right. It's not very visible. I think I'm going to go with the light Calypso Coral and add the markings that way, because otherwise you won't see it. Yeah, this is better. Okay, so I'm going to put some on the tail. And on his back. Okay, I think that's probably good. All right, and then let's continue dark petal pink. Let's see. Okay, yeah, this is the dark petal pink. Let's color in this guy. I'm going to leave his tummy a little bit white, so. But I got ideas on how to color in the cats and dogs from other demonstrators who have posted their cards. So that's always a good starting point, and then you can decide what works for you. But I wanted this guy's tummy to be white. Okay. We'll go with the light Calypso Coral for this cat. And maybe I'll leave a white patch on his back or something. Or maybe his feet will be white. go. And back to dark petal pink. Okay. And we'll put spots on this last cat. They don't have to look like real cats. Have fun with the colors. Use it, whatever's color scheme, works for your card. And this is the color scheme I chose, and so who cares if there are no real petal pink cats? Just on my card. Okay. All right, my cats are colored in. I'm going to take some light wild wheat to color in my butterflies. And I wanted to tie that, like I wanted the wild wheat so I could tie it back to the wild wheat that I'm using for the strip of paw prints. There we go. All right. We are done with the coloring. So let's refresh the screen so I can see what you ladies are chatting about. Oh, okay. Sandra, you have a video. You said you saw a video where the person said to squeeze the black bottom, then lift the lid. Oh, okay. Hard to squeeze. It's quite firm. Okay. And Shali, yeah, I don't know if you're gonna have trouble getting your fingernail in here because, like, maybe the sides are easier. Yeah, the sides are slightly easier. The top is very flushed. Yeah, and because it is a curved top, you can't store this upside down. I've been storing it straight up. Like, I don't know if they meant for us to store it side, like that's our normal way to do it, but yeah. I don't store it upside down. Okay, so that's done. Let's cut that out, and then I think we can start with assembly. All right, let's bring in the cut and emboss machine in again. And let's do the sentiment first. I think I may have to bring back my stamp apparatus to do black ink stamping, just so I can make sure that it's, really fully inked, because I feel like there's a little bit of white missing. Sorry, not white missing. There's a little bit of white in the letters, like it's not fully solid black. That's what I meant. But it's okay. All right. Well, let's move that out of the way. And I'm going to get the cat die. Let's die cut this. So these cats are super cute. And I've started cutting them apart so that I can do something different. But that card didn't work out, so I'll have to work on it again and see how I can improve on it for next week's card, and hopefully my efforts will not all be lost. Oh, Tara, you are brave using 4 or 5 colors. I just didn't know where to put it. I need to like get a cat to follow one that has like more visible markings, because some of them are all mixed up together, like the black, orange, white is all mixed together, and that's really hard to duplicate in coloring. All right, just gonna refresh. Okay, so let's go ahead and start assembling. Let's pull everything out over here. All right, so super easy. I have a 1/16 of an inch all the way around my edge here. I just wanted it to peek out a little bit. Okay, so let's put some glue on. Tara, I saw that you also don't store your memento stays on or Versamarks upside down, and that is true for me too. I don't store them like that. And of course, Murphy's Law says that I get phone calls. I can't even see where the phone is. Hang on a second. All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, Murphy's Law says that I get phone calls only during my lives, because I don't get phone calls any other time of the day. Usually just spam phone calls. And I know somebody's going to tell me, why do I still have, oh my gosh, it's so... Yep, I know, I still have a landline. Here we go. Okay, so I'm leaving a 1/16 of an inch all the way around, and I'm holding it at like a 45-degree angle before I lay it down, after I've kind of eyeballed where the piece of paper should go. And this will also go here, right? So I'm going to put that on as well. Oh. There we go. All right, so for my paws to have a white background, I needed a piece of white cardstock, like a strip of white cardstock to go on the back, and I made it just slightly wider than my die cut, so that I would have a white edge along the bottom. So I like that, how that looks. Okay, so I'm just going to glue this on. And this, if I had been thinking, and I was thinking about it last night as I was working on the original design, that I should have put adhesive on the back, those adhesive sheets, and then I could just rip this off and it would be a sticker. Rip off the backing and then stick it on, but I forgot to do it for this again. But that is an option. If you have the adhesive sheets, you can put it on the back of your wild wheat and then die cut, and then you'll make a sticker instead of having to glue it on after. Okay, and this is where you're going to need tweezers, because there's no way to pick this up without getting your glue on your fingers otherwise. Okay, so this is measured exactly. If you make it longer than you need, then you can cut it down to size afterwards. But I did measure this out. And I can see actually that it is just a smidgen longer on this one side, so that's easy enough to fix. I'm just going to take my scissors and trim it. There we go. Great. All right, so let's take some glue and adhere this. I'm going to refresh to see if there's any new comments. Okay, Shelly, you're gonna stress me out if you all start calling my landline during the live. Yes, 45-degree angle. Do you know I measured that out too? Just so you have an idea. All right, I think I want to put it on this way. Yeah, the adhesive sheet always comes to mind after I've like done the die cut and I realize, wow, there's going to be a bit of a challenge applying the glue, and that's when I think, oh yeah, I should have used an adhesive sheet. But no worries, it's not a huge deal. It just would have made life a little bit easier. Okay, so this is going to go right on top here, and I'm going to use dimensionals for that. And we'll glue together our greeting here. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on. And I'll make sure not to go too close to the sides because it is offset by a little bit. Oops. I didn't press that down enough before I moved it. There we go. Actually, I'm going to just adjust it a little bit. There. And I have a tiny little butterfly to put into the corner. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the dot of glue where I want the butterfly to go instead of trying to apply it to the butterfly and try to pick that up. Okay. Alright, and then this is going to go on dimensionals in the corner. I originally wanted it to go up here, but then I would be covering one of my cats, and I didn't want it to look like that, so I ended up putting it down here. Okay, and I'm going to put it on an angle because, like I said, it's a fun card. It's not supposed to be all lined up. Okay, last thing is to tie a little bow. Let me refresh. It's definitely a challenge having a conversation when I can only refresh every few moments. Okay. So I'm going to unwind the twine. I do love the twirliness of the twine because I just let that give the twine a little bit of life of its own when it's on the card. Okay, so I'm going to tie it while it's still on the spool so I can manage how long of a piece of string I want without having to commit to cutting it first, because I have done it many times in the past where I cut it too short and then had to recut another piece. So I always tie on the spool when I can, and then I cut. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to take a glue dot, and I have cut mine in half. So, because I mean, a full-size glue dot is just so large, and it's much larger still, even for a half glue dot. The knot doesn't really cover the entire glue dot, so you really don't need much. So just apply that, and I'm going to stick it underneath the cat here. And that is this week's, oh no, it's not. I lie. Reality crafting. I need the card base. Here's the card base. We're not done. Thinking, gosh, that looks smaller than my original card. And then I realized what was the problem. Okay. So let's fold that. And I'm just going to put glue on the back. Let's pick this up. And nudge it into place. And there we go. Now we are done this week's card. So that's my card this week. It's still pretty easy. And I think I really like how the color scheme turned out. I'm just going to refresh to see your comments. Okay. Yeah, I know the hello cards are like, yes, it's like to reconnect, and for not any particular reason. Like if I'm going to send a letter, like I don't send that many letters, but I do have a pen pal, not a pen pal. She's someone, she's a girlfriend of mine that I've always written notes to, and we sent real letters back in university, and we try to keep that up now it happens maybe once a year, but you know, these kinds of cards would encourage you to actually write somebody a note just to catch up or to say hello. So this is the card for today. I hope you enjoyed that, and grab your own DSP scraps and your own supplies, and make something with this layout. Okay, have fun with that. And I will see you next week. Bye, everybody.